for sharing screen also. Share screen. Okay. No, not this. Something else is there where I can actually share my screen. Wait. Select which tab you need to share. But where? Share screen. Ah, I got it. I got it. Got it. Now tell me, is it visible? Tell me, is it visible now? Okay, chalo, that's great. So, as I said that I'm going to start with the Sale of Goods Act. Now, before I start, now everyone's attention I want here. Now I am like I've got the hang of everything now. Now, some people had Nilesh sir had again told me that, ma'am, please discuss how we are supposed to write the answers. The students are having a lot of problem. I really don't understand why do you guys have so much of problem. I really don't understand why you guys have so much of problem. 20 classes I have done with you, 19 classes. And in all the 19 classes, every class I have made you write, you know. Yeah, it is already shared in my Telegram channel. This video, it's already there. Anyway, by tomorrow morning, I'll be uploading everything all over again. I mean, the links I'll be sharing all over again so that you don't have to search for it, you know, in the links. So we'll be revising all the chapters. No doubt, Akshay, I don't know, you don't have doubts, but every day, even Nilesh sir is like, we don't know why people are having so many doubts and all. Anyway, that's not the point. Anyway, I'll be discussing about it. Ma'am, will you be revising all the chapters? Abhi tak start one, usse pehle all the chapters. I don't know. First, let me do this at least. Okay? So anyway, moving on. Yes, you will get the PDF. Don't worry, you will get it. But not now, because if I give it to you now, you will be more interested in the PDF rather than understanding what I'm teaching you. Right now, I want everyone's attention here. We already know the Sale of Goods Act came into force on the 1st of July 1930. Let me decrease the size a little so that we get the entire one. Okay, so what is a contract of sale? It is a contract. Now, someone had asked me today morning, I couldn't reply to that person, that do we get questions like what is an offer, what is an agreement? Do we really get questions like that? Yes, you can get questions like that. You definitely can get questions like, you know, what is a contract, what is an offer? You can get questions like that. Now, what is a contract of sale? A contract of sale is a contract where the seller transfers or agrees to transfer. So basically, it can include immediate transfer of ownership, or it can include a future transfer of ownership. If it is immediate, it is sale. If it is future transfer, it is an agreement to sell. So where the seller transfers or agrees to transfer, what does he transfer or agree to transfer? The property in the goods. So when I say property in the goods means what? The ownership of the goods. To whom will he transfer? To the buyer, and the transfer takes place for a price. So if I look at this definition, I get all the essentials. There has to be two parties. Who are the two parties? Seller and buyer. Seller who sells or agrees to sell, buyer who buys or agrees to buy. Then the next one was the ownership must be transferred of some goods. What is goods? Goods means any movable goods. Goods means any movable goods. Now, services are not considered as goods. The transfer must always take place for a price. It can be partly for cash, partly for money, goods, but again, it has to be, price has to be involved. If it is only goods in exchange of goods, then it becomes what? It becomes barter. Then the transfer must be of general property and not of special property. On a property, I can have two kinds of rights. One is the general right, which is ownership rights. The other is the special right, which is any rights other than ownership rights. So when the goods are pledged to me, it is what? It is a special right. And since it's a contract, all the essentials of a valid contract must be present. Then starting with all the essentials, the first essential is goods. Goods means what? Goods means any movable goods other than money and actionable claims. Anything which is a part of the land is also goods, provided we sever them from the land at the time of sale. I can classify the goods under three heads. existing, future, contingent. Existing, which I have when I contract to sell them. Future, I don't have them, but after the contract is made, if I'm a manufacturer, I'll manufacture them. If I am a producer, I'll produce them. Or if I am a what do you say? If I have to procure it from someone, I'll procure and sell it to you. Contingent goods, I don't have them. I'm not sure I'll get them or not. If I get them, I'll sell. If I don't get them, I'll not sell. Again, existing goods can be classified into specific, certain, and uncertain. Specific goods which I have identified before the contract is made. That is, at the time of making the contracts, the goods have already been identified. Then a certain goods means goods which are not identified at the time of contract but are identified and agreed subsequent to the contract. Then what is uncertain? They are not identified or agreed, just a description of the goods are given. And what I'm going to do is, after every unit, I am going to stop. I'm going to ask your doubts. We are going to clarify the doubts and then we'll move ahead. Where did that go? Then fixing of price in a contract of sale, price can be fixed. Generally, the idea is that price is fixed at the time of contract, but no, price can be fixed in 3 different ways. It can be fixed by the agreement itself, that is in the agreement only we fix. By mutual dealings, we don't fix it in the agreements, but we have terms using which we can fix the price of the goods, and it can also be fixed by third parties. When it is fixed by third parties, it's a contingent contract. If the third party refuses to fix the price, then it becomes void. If the third party agrees, then we sell the goods at that price. Then in case of a contract of sale, there is delivery on the part of the buyer means payment, whereas delivery on the part of the seller means delivery of the, performance on the part of the buyer means payment, and performance on the part of the seller means delivery. So there are, what is delivery? Voluntary transfer of the possession. I'm not saying it's a forced transfer. I'm not forcing you. I am not pleading you. You are by choice giving the goods to me. It is voluntary transfer of the possession of the goods. It can be of 3 types: actual, symbolic, and constructive. Actual means the goods are actually delivered to the, handed over to the buyer. Symbolic, goods are not given to the buyer, but he is given certain means using which he can take the goods. For example, document of title, keys, whatever. And constructive means I am not giving you the goods, neither am I giving you any symbols. I'm not giving you the goods, I'm not giving you any symbols. However, just by acknowledging the delivery is done. Now, we have completed unit 1. Now, before I go to the next unit, if you have any doubts in this unit, we will first, look into that. Screen is not visible. Wait. But did you understand? Do I need to repeat it? This you've understood, right? I don't need to repeat, correct? Now with this, we have completed unit 1. So now another thing is, if you are messaging me anything on Telegram, that phone I'm not using right now. My WhatsApp phone is only there. So you have the number. If you have the number, if screen is not visible at any given point of time, you message me on that, okay? What happened? The battery will go. Okay, the battery is about to go. So you just message any of the doubts that you have, you message that, and let me just get my charger. And can you please repeat constructive delivery? Okay, constructive delivery means what? Constructive delivery means that I have not given you the goods have not moved at all, I have not given you any symbols, nothing is given, I just acknowledge. And by this acknowledgement, the delivery takes place. By just this acknowledgement, the delivery takes place, right? I'll go to the next part. Goods means any movable goods is goods. Anything which is movable is goods. Now, the next unit basically talks about conditions and warranties. Conditions are essential, whereas warranties are collateral. They both are agreements in the contract of sale. Conditions are essential, whereas warranty is collateral. Conditions, if there is a breach of condition, I don't have, the seller will have no remedies, the buyer will have a right to return the goods back, claim the damages also. In warranty, the buyer will not have remedies to cancel the contract, but he will have a right to claim the damages. Now, these conditions and warranties both can be express or implied. Express means as agreed, and what they agree, that could be anything that they agree to. But when I say implied, then I can, yes, pinpoint, yes, this is what is implied. So when we say implied, implied means it is something which is given by law. So what are the implied conditions? Obviously, it's given by law, so they are fixed. So what are these implied conditions? The first one is condition as to title. Title means ownership. When I sell the goods to you, you will not ask me whether you have a right to sell or not, because it is implied that I am selling you because I have a right to sell. If the seller does not have the right to sell, and the goods are taken away from the buyer by the true owner, the buyer can cancel the contract. Sale by sample, 3 conditions. Bulk must correspond to the sample. The buyer must be given an opportunity to examine the goods, and the goods must not have any defect, which though I cannot see from my eyes, makes the goods unmerchantable, that is not usable. The third is sale by description. When I describe the goods to you, the bulk must correspond to the description. If the description of packing is given, that also becomes a part of description. Sale as well as description. When the goods are sold by sample, I'm so sorry, sale and description, this will be sample and description. The sample must be described as it is known in the market, and the bulk must correspond to both sample and description. Then specific purpose of the buyer. When the buyer specifies to the seller the reason of his purchase and depends upon the seller's skill and judgment, and seller deals in those goods, it is implied that the seller will only supply the goods which suit the buyer's purpose, otherwise the buyer can cancel the contract. Usage of trade. By use, we know the purpose of some goods. So if the goods are not suitable for that purpose, the buyer can return the goods back. Merchantability. Goods should be in a saleable or usable state. If the packing is defective, that also makes the goods unmerchantable. However, if it is a personal ailment of a person, that does not make the goods unmerchantable. Then wholesomeness. Goods should be in a consumable state. This applies for eatables. Apart from being merchantable, they should be wholesome, that is in a consumable state. Warranty. We have 4 warranties. The basic difference, today morning only I was taking another doubt session for Sale of Goods Act only. So they were like, what's the difference between undisturbed and freedom? Undisturbed, the seller has no right to sell. So it is basically condition as to title treated as warranty. What is freedom from encumbrances? The seller is the owner of the goods, but there are some special rights over the goods also. And the person who has these special rights, without his consent or without removing his special rights, the goods are sold. Then because of that special rights, he can claim the goods back from the buyer. If the goods are of a dangerous nature, it is the seller's duty to inform the buyer. If he fails to do so and the buyer suffers any damage, he can claim it from the seller. And the last one, quality and fitness. By use, we know the purpose. So again, let me tell you, this undisturbed possession, okay? This undisturbed possession, why is the pen not working? It is working, okay. So this undisturbed possession, my screen is gone here, and this So the first and the fourth is nothing but condition treated as warranty. Remember this. First and the fourth warranty is nothing but condition treated as warranty. The last one, caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. If the buyer has made a wrong selection of the goods, he cannot hold the seller liable for his wrong selection. He will be liable. So it is the buyer's duty to check whether the goods suit his purpose or not. If not, he cannot claim any remedy from the seller. He is bound by the purchase that he has made. Now, however, there are certain cases where this rule does not apply. And what are these? What are these exceptions? All the implied conditions are exceptions to the rule of caveat emptor. In case of all the implied conditions, caveat emptor shall not apply. And if the goods are purchased under a trade name, caveat emptor shall not apply. I'll go slow from now. Actually, I should have kept the chat box open here. I did not get a harsh. I did not get what do you mean by drop delivery, drop shipping. I don't know what is drop shipping. I'm sorry. Freedom from encumbrances, I'll just repeat again. Basically, freedom from encumbrances means that when your goods, some third party has a special rights on your goods. So when you're selling the goods, his special rights should be removed. If you remember Gabbar and Thakur, without removing his special rights, if you sell the goods, because of that special right, the third party has a part of ownership over the goods, and he can claim it on that basis. So when he is selling the goods to the buyer, he should completely transfer the ownership by removing the special rights. Otherwise, the buyer can claim the damages. Now tell me if you have any other doubt. Basically, in that case, the shopkeeper is acting as an agent, nothing else. The manufacturer, whoever is the person who is making the goods, he is delivering it to it is actual delivery, and the shopkeeper is nothing but he is an agent, right? Shreya, ma'am, in exceptions of condition as to quality and fitness, should we write about caveat emptor or those 3 points which are given in that point? Huh? Are you talking about the question which was asked in the mock test? Shreya, are you asking for this about the question which was asked in the mock test, question number 5? I guess today morning someone had asked me the same doubt. Let me just, if possible, let me just open my mail. Shreya, please reply. Are you asking this in concern to the mock test paper? Okay, so am I audible and is my screen visible? I have opened the mock test paper. So am I audible and is my screen visible? Okay, so this question, please, today morning also someone asked me the same doubt because purpose is given. Now read the sentence. What is given here is, there is no implied warranty or condition as to quality or fitness for any specific purpose of the goods supplied under a contract of sale. Now what we are doing is we are connecting these lines, okay? We are connecting these lines. Oh God, don't tell me. Oof. Now what we are doing is we are connecting these lines with the condition as to quality and fitness for the specific purpose of the buyer. What I want to tell you is, if you read this line, not able to see the mock test paper? Are you not able to see the mock test paper? Okay, okay, wait, okay. I hate Zoom. That's the reason I don't know what am I supposed to do here. Can you see it now? Yes? Okay. So if I read this sentence, there is no implied warranty or condition as to, acha, theek hai, listen, Baba. The only time when all my students are super enthusiastic to reply me is when I ask them, is it visible or am I audible? Yes, ma'am. Otherwise, everyone, if I ask, no doubts, no one will reply. If I ask any doubts, rarely people will reply. Did you understand one or two? Yes, we understood. But if I ask you, am I audible? Yes, everyone will reply then. So anyway, coming to this, there is no implied warranty or condition as to quality or fitness for any particular purpose of goods supplied under contract of sale. What this sentence means is that the buyer shall be responsible for every goods that he purchases. The seller is not responsible to check whether the goods suit the buyer's purpose or not. So if I take this explanation, it means what? I am saying caveat emptor. Here they are not talking about condition as to quality and fitness for the specific purpose of the buyer. This is not what they are talking about. Here what they are talking about is that when the seller is selling the goods to the buyer, it is buyer's responsibility to purchase the goods which suit his purpose. It is not the seller's responsibility to give him the goods which are suitable to him. So this sentence means caveat emptor. So basically they are asking you about caveat emptor. Yeah, the question is there in the scanner, but the point is that you had a doubt, so I'm discussing it. So I hope it's clear. So this question is talking about caveat emptor, not just one condition in specific. And that's the reason we have to write everything. I hope it's clear to everyone. Any doubts from second unit? Otherwise, I'll move on to the next unit then. No? Can I move to the next unit then? Okay, chalo. In Baba, एक minute. Oh, she was in a car and she bought her tea and suddenly it falls and but it is hot, so when she touches it would be so. Is it human psychology? Yeah, it is human psychology. There are so many things which is human psychology. When I take the first puff of cigarette, I'll start coughing, and the human psychology tells me that I am going to, cough when I start smoking, but still I take it or not. Yes. So then why do we have to write it that, smoking causes cancer or whatever? Yes or no? Correct. So many disclaimers are given in so many places. I know that when it's a glassware, it is fragile. You don't have to tell me a glassware is fragile. I know it's fragile, but still you have to tell me or not. Yeah, you have to tell me. You have to tell me. So it is not about whether it's common sense. Here it's not about common sense. It is about your duty to disclose the dangerous nature of the goods. It's about your duty to tell about it. Okay. Now moving on to the next unit. Everything is clear to all of you. You all should score ranks in the exams. Achha, ranks have been removed. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Ranks have been removed, no, from your term. You all should get above 60 in law. Everyone should get. If you don't get, no. You see what I do, because the way you guys have messaged and literally tortured me, no, you should get everything. You should, you should get 60 plus. And you will say, ma'am, the total marks of law, I'm just expecting this. Ma'am, law is only for 60 marks. Whatever Law is for 60 marks, but BCR is also there, no? So I am expecting everyone should get above 60 in this law and BCR. So at least 50 in law you should get. Yeah, Neeraj, remember this. I'll take a screenshot of this. So I'll move on to the next. Good. You should. And the day of the exam, I want a copy of the paper from you all immediately the moment you step out of the exam hall and how your paper went. I want these two things, yeah. So anyway, let's move on to transfer of property. Remember it. So there are three stages in which transfer of property takes place: property in the goods, possession of the goods, and passing of risk. Property in the goods means what? The PPT is visible, right? The PPT is visible. Property in the goods means what? Ownership of the goods. Possession of the goods means what? Physical goods. And passing of risk, generally risk is with the what? The seller. Risk is with the seller. And one more thing before I forget, since I'm talking about it, let me add something. We have done revision of Sale of Goods Act today. Now what you should do is today evening, it will take you 2 or 3 whatever hours. You are going to sit and revise the entire unit so that after this you don't have to open it before your exams. I hope you're getting my point. So whatever we are doing, all the revisions that we will do every day, I want you to, after the revision, you go back, you sit with that chapter, you revise everything, and so that in such a way so that you don't have to open it again before the exam. And let me tell you one more thing. Paper is going to be lengthy because you have to write like so many, numbers. I forgot 500 for 4 marks. You have to write an essay. So it's going to be a lengthy paper for you all, let me tell you. So you have to practice. So this 1 week, keep practicing. So when you are doing Sale of Goods Act, practice 2 to 3 questions of that chapter. Anyway, moving on to passing of risk. Till ownership is with the seller, risk is with the seller. But once the ownership passes on to the buyer, risk passes on to the buyer. However, it can happen that the seller and buyer may agree differently to the risk. As in, even though I am the owner, I will not bear the risk, or even though you are the owner, you may not bear the risk right now. However, further, as a bailee, you are supposed to take care of the goods. And if you fail to take care of the goods as a bailee, you will have to bear the loss. Now, when does the ownership transfer from the seller to the buyer? That depends upon the contract between the seller and the buyer. If the contract mentions that this is the time when the ownership should transfer, the ownership will transfer as per whatever is mentioned in the contract, right? When the contract mentions that this is when the ownership should transfer, then in that case, ownership will transfer as per whatever is mentioned in the contract. However, if nothing is mentioned in the contract, then depending on whether the goods are specific goods or uncertain goods, ownership is transferred. So ownership is transferred as per the terms of the agreement, whatever the agreement says. But however, if the agreement does not say anything, ownership will be transferred depending on whether the goods are specific goods or uncertain goods. Now, if the goods are specific goods, ownership is transferred if the goods are in a deliverable state immediately. What is deliverable state? The buyer is bound to take the delivery of the goods. If the goods are not in a deliverable state, ownership is transferred after they are brought to a deliverable state and the buyer is informed. If the seller has to conduct tests over the goods, we have to wait for the tests to be conducted. Ownership is transferred only after the tests are conducted. If the buyer has to conduct the test, we don't wait, the ownership is transferred immediately. If the goods are uncertain goods, ownership is transferred after the goods are ascertained and appropriated. Ascertain means as per the description of the goods are taken out and set aside. As per the description given by the buyer for the goods are taken out and kept aside. Once the goods are kept aside, we have to confirm it with the buyer, or the buyer will confirm it with us that is it the appropriate goods that we have kept aside, and when agreed, the delivery will be given or made or taken. This is appropriation. So what is appropriation? Selection of the goods with the consent of both the parties to finally fulfill the performance of the contract. Now, when the sale is made on approval basis, goods are given to you. If you like, you can purchase it. Otherwise, you can return the goods back. Ownership is transferred when the buyer gives his consent, or the goods are retained after the specified time, or if nothing is specified, after the reasonable time, or when the buyer does any act which is inconsistent with ownership. In these cases, the ownership is transferred. However, if it is cash on approval on cash, sale on approval on cash basis, ownership is transferred only after the cash is paid. Don't ask me these questions. Don't ask these questions right now. LLP will talk about it after we are done with this. Let us just do this. Pay attention to this. You know, we don't value, but these last minute, you know, it's so helpful at times. I have made a video with these PDFs also. It's already there up on the YouTube. So you don't realize how important these, you know, these things can be. Even before the exam, you know, the day you come back after your accounts exams, you just go through these videos and it's done for you. One revision is done, and then the next day you can just sit once more and do the rest of it. Nemo dat quod non-habet means no one can give what he has not got. So to transfer the ownership of the goods, I must have the ownership. Lekin law mein kya hota hai? Locha. So there are cases where I am not the owner, still I can sell the goods and it's absolutely valid. First is sale by a mercantile agent. First is sale by a mercantile agent. When a mercantile agent acting in the ordinary course of the business has the possession of the goods with the consent of the owner, sells it to a bona fide purchaser, sale is valid. So all these three conditions have to be there, right? Second one, sale by one of the joint owners. When one of the joint owners has the possession of the goods with the consent of other joint owners and sells it to a bona fide purchaser, the sale is valid. Sale by a person in possession under a voidable contract. If a person has the possession of the goods under a voidable contract and before the contract is cancelled, sells it to a bona fide purchaser, the sale is valid. So it is under a voidable contract. If the goods are possessed under a void contract, however good faith you may use, you will not get the ownership. And let me tell you, you might be thinking, Arey, ma'am is not giving examples. She's just, you know, so please, this is a revision class. This class is revision, example, everything was already done. Now it's not the time for me to sit and give you examples for each and every case. Sale by estoppel, when the owner lets the buyer believe that the other person who is selling him the goods has a right to sell. Then by keeping silent or by his act, the owner is making the buyer believe that the seller has a right to sell. The sale is absolutely valid. Sale by a person in possession after sale. I have sold the goods, but I still have the possession of the goods and I resell them to a bona fide purchaser. The new buyer will get a good title. Ma'am, what about the old buyer? He will get his price, money, refund, whatever, but he will not get the goods, right? Now, sale by a person before sale. I have not sold you the goods. I have only given you the possession of the goods where in future you will get the ownership and you sell them to a new buyer, a new purchaser, the sale is valid. However, in this, not every case, like hire purchase, you cannot sell it. It's not valid. Sale on approval, you can sell it, it's valid. A sale by an unpaid seller. If an unpaid seller, he has exercised his rights of lien and stoppage, he still does not get the money back, he can sell the goods and it's absolutely valid. Now, under the Indian Contract Act and the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, non-owners can sell the goods and the sale is valid. So, pawnee or pledgee, the liquidators or finder of the goods, they sell the goods and the sale is absolutely valid. Rules of delivery, I am not going to explain. If you have doubts in any of it, we will discuss it. So now you give me your doubts, if any doubts you have. As far as this LLP is concerned, LLP, in the link that I'll share, LLP notes are there and those notes are definitely very helpful. I think it will help you a lot in remembering. So you can go through them instead of, you know, the others. What is word count needed for the question? That is only for essay, I think. Right? That is only for essay. Unconditional appropriation, basically, just hold on a second. Unconditional appropriation means after you have appropriated the goods, you don't put conditions. If after you have appropriated the goods and you put conditions, after you have appropriated the goods and you put conditions, then it is conditional appropriation. The seller has reserved the rights of disposal. What is the reservation of rights to disposal? It means when the seller keeps in his control the ultimate disposal of the goods. Reserve means keep in your control. Disposal means transfer of ownership or transfer of delivery of the goods. Okay? That is reservation of rights. What is the difference between Tejaswini? How can I tell you this? This is a revision note. Revision note is okay when I have already done everything from the books. This is a last minute revision where I don't have time to go through the 200 pages before the exam. I look into this just to do a recap. Right? This happens when I've already studied from my material and everything, and now I just need to do a recap. I can use this. You'll ask me such questions. No, there is this one guy who will send me every day one message. Ma'am, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you tell me the name of the cases I need to remember? When I teach you in the class, why don't you write all these things down? When I keep like literally shouting at the top of my voice, mark this, now also I'm shouting, but still, then you will not do. And then later you will ask me, what is this? What is that? Can you say acceptance of delivery? Yeah, acceptance of delivery takes place when the buyer accepts the goods or does not return the goods back or does any act which shows ownership. So basically when the goods are delivered to you and you accept it, means you have accepted the goods, or you have kept it and you fail to return them back within the time, then it is you have accepted the goods, or you deliver it to someone else or whatever, you have accepted the goods. What is the difference between ascertain and unascertain goods? It's always unascertain goods which are ascertain. So the first stage is unascertain, second stage is ascertain. Mutual consent means we ask each other. I ask you, I have kept these goods aside, or you ask me, did you keep these goods aside? So that is what is mutual consent of seller and buyer. After you tell me, I want this phone, you give me a description. This is unascertain. I take out that phone. This is ascertain. Now I ask you, this is the phone you want? You say, yes, this is the phone I want. This is appropriation. Right? Anything else? Anything else? What do you mean by give one example of right of lien? What do you mean by that? Give one example of right of lien. So we'll move to the next unit, the last unit. Rules of delivery. You have any doubt in any of the rules of delivery? Coming to Tejaswini's question, let me just explain something to you, and I have done it so many times earlier also. See, I have studied conditions and warranties from my material or from my notes that I have written. Now, in my material, I have 3 pages of implied conditions, and in my notes, I have 4 or 5 pages of implied conditions. I have read that thoroughly and I know it very well now. So now tomorrow I'm going to go for the exams. So now I cannot read those 3 pages because I don't have time. So what I will do is I will come here and recap the 3 points. Now this is just one single sheet for me. So if I try to read that, maybe it will take me 30 minutes. If I try to recap it from this, maybe 10 minutes, I will be able to do it. But this helps you only when you are very thorough with that, right? ICI material day before the exam, it is very big risk that you are taking because there are so many things there. There are so many things there. So how these notes will help you that tomorrow you are going to write the exam. You cannot read everything giving so much of time. Then you can come to these notes. So today evening, Let me tell you, I want everyone's attention here. Whoever is there in this class, I want everyone's attention to what I'm saying. Listen carefully. What you will do is you will first go, after the class is done, you will not sit immediately. Our class should be done by 3:30 max. So you're not going to sit, go and sit to study immediately. No, definitely not. So what you are going to do is you're going to relax, have a cup of tea, coffee, whatever you want, green tea, black coffee, whatever takes your, whatever makes you feel good. You're going to maybe milk also, whatever. And after that, what you are going to do is you are going to first take out your notes or my material or ICI material, whichever you have been studying with. If you are studying with ICI material, take that. But if you have been studying with my material, today if you take ICI material, I am telling you, you will not be ready for the exam the next week. Because you will lose your confidence. Totally your confidence will be gone because you will find that you are reading something which is alien to you. So you are going to take up that book which you have already referred to. Once you have done, let's say you have studied all the implied conditions. Now you will take out this revision note and do a recap from here. Because if suddenly you take out something new just before the day of the exam, it's not going to be convenient for you. So after that, you're going to take out this material, do a recap then and there. It will take half an hour extra, but you will be better prepared for your exams. So I hope I have made myself clear answering all your questions that you had a query about. And for the next 1 week, I want everyone will every day in the evening drop a message to me. Lalit, no doubt is ever silly. It looks silly to me. I may also make fun of you saying what silly doubts you're asking me. But a doubt is always a doubt and it's never silly. And it genuinely has a doubt for you. So that's the reason you're asking. But anyway, pehle se hi bol diya. Nahi to ma'am bolenge ki what silly things you're asking me. So let me tell before only. Now, just before the exams, 1 week for the exams you have, every day you're going to message me. Every day you're going to message me that how much you have studied and how much you have not studied. Every day I want a message from everyone. I'll give you my number at the end also. I'll give you my number also. I've already given it in the class also. Every day you will message me. And if you feel anyone feels demotivated, you just tell me. I'll send you so many written quotes. I do that. You must have seen also on Instagram. I keep posting also. So I'll send you all dose of, motivation early in the morning. 6 o'clock. From 6 o'clock I can start. Yeah. So you any day and every day I want an accountability from you that what are you doing till the exams? How much you have studied in that day? For all the subjects you have to give me. So anyway, let's see Lalit's silly doubt. Ma'am, one silly doubt that I really had, is it 6 marks, 6 points or 6 marks all points? Just for a confirmation, ma'am. See, no, it is many of you had asked me before also and I had answered this question before also. Since now we are there live, let me answer this doubt. If you are asked exceptions of caveat emptor, right? I think there are 7 or 8 exceptions there. For 6 marks, you will write all the exceptions. You will write all the exceptions, okay? If it is 6 marks rules of offer, you will write almost all the rules of offer because there are 7 or 8 or 9 rules, I guess. If they ask you minors agreement 6 marks, there are 15 rules, 14 or 15 rules for minors agreement. I cannot write all the 14, 15 rules. I'll stick to 7, 8 rules. So when it is 6 marks, you have to write points. I won't say 6 points you should write. You should write 7 to 8 points. 7 to 8 points you should write. 7 to 8 points you should write. Now, ma'am, difference is only 3 differences, but they have asked us for 4 marks. So no problem, you write those 3 differences only. You don't create your own differences there. Okay? I hope it's clear, Lalit. And I hope it's clear to everyone because many of you had asked, I had seen these doubts popping up on and off in the chat box. So not today, I mean earlier in the Telegram or whatever. So I hope it's clear to everyone. So we'll move on to the next chapter, unpaid seller. Who's an unpaid seller? And whoever had asked me this doubt on reservation of rights to disposal. What should I repeat, Tejaswini? What should I repeat? Video is stuck? No, video is working fine. Is the video stuck? Is the video stuck? It's working fine, yeah. It's working fine. If you get a point ka question for 6 marks, make it a point that you write at least 7 to 8 points. You must write at least 7 to 8 points. Even if it is a 6 marks things, you should write 7 to 8 points. Okay? Chalo, rights of an unpaid. Now, first of all, unpaid seller. Who is an unpaid seller? Who has not received the whole price of the goods. Now, why he has not received the whole price of the goods? Because the buyer did not pay him. So, ma'am, why did the buyer not pay him? Now that the buyer only knows why. So, but it could be any of the reasons. There was, the thing is that Krishnan, I'll just come to your doubts after 2 minutes. I have a very funny story to tell you about this doubt. I'll tell you after this. So, who has not received? Now, why he has not received? Because the buyer did not pay. The buyer was not supposed to pay and he did not pay, or the buyer is supposed to pay but he did not pay. The buyer is supposed to pay but he did not pay. So, in what cases he has not paid? No credit period. So, when there is no credit period, you should pay immediately. You did not. Unpaid seller. There is a credit period. So, during the credit period, I'm not an unpaid seller. But the credit period is expired and you have not paid. Then unpaid seller. Payment was made by a negotiable instrument, check or bill of exchange or promissory note which has been dishonored. And the last one, the buyer has become insolvent. In any of these cases, if I have not received the price of the goods, I am an unpaid seller. Right? Now, unpaid seller has rights both against the goods as well as against the buyer. Against the goods, he has a right of lien, right of stoppage and right to resell. I want everyone's attention here now. What is this rights of lien? I have the goods with me. Lien means to retain. Someone had asked me an example of lien of goods. I couldn't understand what basically you were asking, but okay, an example for lien of goods. Let us say you are a CA, you've become a CA and you're doing audit. So the company has given you their books of accounts and you are conducting the audit. You don't prepare the books of accounts, you conduct the audit for the books of accounts. So the books of accounts are in your, they are with you and you are trying to audit. Now audit is done, you ask them for the fees. They don't pay you your fees. Do you have a right to get the fees or not? Yes, I have done the work. I have a right to get my fees. Now what they do, they say, we will not give you the fees. You say, okay, fine, keep the fees, I'll keep your accounts. So I will not hand over the books of accounts unless you pay me the fees. This is what? Lien. This is what? Lien. So I am retaining the possession of the goods. You have taken a loan against the security of your mobile, you don't pay the money. Can the person who has given you the loan retain the phone with him? Yes, this is lien. So when the seller has sold the goods to the buyer, but continues to have the possession of the goods and becomes unpaid. Why will he become unpaid? Any of the 4 reasons. What 4 reasons? No credit period expired, negotiable instrument dishonored, or the buyer becomes insolvent. He will keep the goods with himself and not deliver it to the buyer. He will keep the goods with himself and not deliver it to the buyer. This is rights of lien. Now, when does the lien come to an end? What is very important to understand here is that lien comes to an end means it cannot be exercised anymore. It doesn't mean it's exercised and comes to an end. It means it cannot be exercised anymore. When the goods are given to the carrier for delivery to the buyer, lien comes to an end. Or when the buyer tenders the payment. Tenders the payment means pays or offers to pay. Right? Tender means I am doing it or I am offering to do it. Or the buyer or his agent lawfully acquire the goods or by estoppel or waiver. Estoppel, the seller says to the buyer in everyone's presence that I'll not retain the goods ever. Waiver, he gives his right of lien. The next right is right of stoppage. Basically, when the seller has given the goods to the carrier for delivery to the buyer, and in the meantime, he becomes unpaid. Then why? Because buyer has become insolvent. Then he can get the goods back. This is stoppage. So basically stoppage is do not hand over the goods to the buyer. Do not hand over the goods to the buyer. When does the right of stoppage come to an end? When the goods reach the buyer. When does it come to an end? When the goods reach the buyer. Then resell, he can even resell the goods, but the goods belong to the buyer. So I have to give him a notice that I'm going to resell your goods. I have to give him a notice that I'm going to resell your goods. If after giving the notice, he still doesn't take the goods, then I'll resell. If there is a loss on resell, I'll recover it from the buyer. If there is a profit, the seller will keep it. But if I don't give a notice, then it is the seller's fault. So if there is a loss, the seller will bear, but if there is a profit, the buyer will keep it. I hope it's clear. If the goods are perishable, no notice is required. Now, the rights against the buyer are available irrespective of who has the possession of the goods. For rights against the goods, the possession of the goods must not reach the buyer. Once the goods reach the buyer, rights are over. But for rights against the buyer, there is no restriction as who has the possession. Anyone can have the possession, but still I have rights. What are the rights? I have the right to sue for the price of the goods, sue for the interest for delayed payment. Even if the agreement doesn't say, still I have a right to sue for interest. If I have delivered the goods, proper time, proper place, as you wanted, everything, but you still don't take the possession of the goods, I have a right to sue for damages for non-acceptance and sue for breach of contract. Now, if the seller breaches the contract, what are the rights of the buyer? Damages for non-delivery of goods, specific performance when the goods have no substitute. If there is a breach of warranty or if there is a breach of condition treated as breach of warranty, has a right to sue for price. And the last one, if there is a breach of condition or if he has given advance money, refund of that advance money, so sue for price. Okay, auction sale, I'm not going to give you the points. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Chalo, if you have any doubts, now you can ask me. As far as the difference question is concerned, let's talk about the question of difference. Differences, generally, it is preferable you write point-wise and not tabular form. Now, someone asked me, ma'am, how should I write? I said it's preferable you write it in point form. Ma'am, is there a problem if I write in tabular form? I said, no. I am not saying you must. I am saying preferably you write it in point. If you want to write it in table, you can. That's your choice. But preferable is you write it in point, giving the difference of both. No. Points doubt is not silly. It is absolutely okay. I am here to answer all your doubts. Yes, you can write examples while explaining. Case study comes for how many marks? It can be from 3 marks to 7 marks, anything. That you just read it. I'm not going to go into this. Inclusion or of increased or decreased taxes in contract of sale, you do it. I'm not going to explain it. Yes, you should write examples. For example, they tell you rules of offer. It is, your answer would be beautiful if you actually give examples. So you should definitely give examples. And you can give examples and that, like, you know, marriage and all you can give. How is the offer of the buyer to pay the price brings an end? Yeah, when I am saying I'll pay you the price, give me my goods. How can you exercise lien now? When I am saying I'm ready to pay the price, please give me my goods back. How can you keep the goods then? When I am ready to pay the price now, how can you keep the goods, right? Which one should you attempt first? See, that is totally your choice. Now, one thing, tell me, you feel more comfortable with law or more comfortable with BCR? Tell me one thing, you feel more comfortable with law or more comfortable with BCR? Law. Oh my God, I should have worn something with collar. I should have, you know, it would have gone up like this. Oh my God. Dude, BCR is something that you have been doing since you were kids and still you are saying you are more comfortable with. Seriously, I should have worn something with that, you know. Okay. So I generally tell everyone that you should start with law. If you want to start with BCR, that is totally your choice. Absolutely no problem. But I would still say start with law. And if you start with BCR, make sure that within 1 hour, you switch over to law. That is, you cannot give BCR more than 1 hour. And that depends, because like once I told you about this girl who got 68 or 69 in law and BCR, and she attempted only 10 marks BCR. So she was like, ma'am, my saving grace was law. It was only because of you. After she got the results and I was in Bangalore, I met her. So she was like, ma'am, it's only because of you I've got such good marks. I got 68 in law and BCR and I only attempted 10 marks. So you can understand how well she scored in law. So her friends were like, yeah, ma'am, her every page from her book is out. Like she has studied it so much. The material that I had given her, that my material that was given to her, they were like, ma'am, every page was coming out from that book. So totally your choice, but whatever, if you are attempting BCR first, make sure that, within 1 hour. So if the exam starts at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you have to start law. If not, trouble then. But I would still say attempt law first, because writing those press C and all, but then totally your choice. Anything else? So what is the problem? Gautam, it's absolutely okay if you're reading those notes. It will totally, it's okay. It's totally based on the, yeah, it is absolutely enough. There won't be a problem. It is enough. So even if you get separate books for both, so what's the problem? Textually, if you look into the definition, they have given you 4 points for that, which basically means which I have made without an intention to deceive if I make a mistake. That is, I make a wrong representation, but without an intention to deceive. That is what it means. Positive assertion means agreeing. Yes, this is it. That is positive assertion. Assertion means stating the fact. Positive means agreeing to that fact. Anything else? Oh, you're asking whether you'll get separate. Yeah, I think you get separate booklets. Effect of subsale. When the seller has the goods, but the buyer resells those same goods to another person, irrespective of the buyer reselling the goods, the seller will have rights over the goods as an unpaid seller. So any subsale or pledge made by the buyer does not affect the rights of an unpaid seller over the goods. But if the seller has given the consent for the subsale or pledge, or if the buyer has the document of title which he gives to the new buyer, then it's different. Otherwise, chalo, anything else? No? Are you sure? Okay. So you want any other chapter revision? Don't tell me contract. Even if I do, it will be in the end. It is huge. LLP ka one video I had uploaded. That is like complete. Everything is there. Okay. So we'll keep it tomorrow. Tomorrow. What time? What time? Time? Hey, oh, this is such a sleepy time. Don't tell me. Tell me, which one should we keep? Which one should we keep? What, which chapter? Companies Act? Nilesh, Nilesh, yeah, is it a problem if I keep the class in the morning? Like everyone is agreeing to, मतलब everyone is messaging ki morning ka class. मतलब I asked them what time. हाँ, अच्छा अच्छा, he's taking on Zoom क्या? Okay, 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 no problem, no problem. Then if I keep it at 4 in the evening, that's okay? 5? 5. Okay, 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 okay. There is no, Sneha, there is no such restriction that two levels or nothing. There is no such restriction as such. Actually, till morning 1, I cannot keep. Till morning 1, I cannot keep. The problem is that till morning 1, I cannot keep. And I asked sir for 4 o'clock. He was like 5 would be better. Even I don't want evening. Even I don't like evening classes. And my dinner time, if I take a class at 5, my dinner time, I prefer eating early, but everything goes, haywire. So even it's not preferable to me. See, I'll be very honest. If I take at 3 o'clock, no, it is such a sleepy time. I have already explained unconditional appropriation. Exactly. On Wednesday, he's like, after Wednesday, it's not a problem. But till Tuesday, they have classes from 8 to 1 on Zoom. This account where we can have more than 100 participants. That's the reason. So that is why. Please, 1 or 2 days anyway doesn't make a difference for us, right? So, so my phone number 98310. My phone number 98310 11194. Yeah, so you have Jane classes from 2 to 5. So instead of 5, I'll take it from 5:30, right? Instead of 5, I'll take it from 5:30. That is okay, right? 5:30, because we don't have an option. I cannot take it before like 1. And as it is 2 to 5, you have class. So 5:30, I'll keep it, okay? Okay. So yeah, and so what is the homework for today? Right now, go and relax for some time. And don't study for the time being. Go and relax till 4:35. And no, video is working fine, I guess. Do some meditation. And if you are like, ma'am, I cannot concentrate in meditation, no problem. Let your mind wander any place it wants to go. Let it wander, but still sit 5 minutes, patience ke saath you sit. And after that, you sit to study. No, you will not. 98310 11194. You will not watch the match. You will sit and study. Watch the highlights later. I never get the concept of watching cricket match. Something beyond me. I don't like it. So anyway, whatever you will do, you do. But sit and study in the evening. Tomorrow, tonight before you sleep. How can I now? What is page 127? What is the point? How will I find it? But I repeat again, but tonight before you sleep, your sale of goods act should be over. Arbitration meaning, no. What is arbitration is, you send me, I'll explain. Arbitration, listen carefully. Arbitration means settlement outside the court. Arbitration means settlement outside the court. My number I've already told 4 times, but still someone is like, ma'am, give me the number again. 98310 98310 Yeah, thank you, Bhavesh. So tonight before you sleep, your sale of goods act should be over. Tomorrow morning, don't study law. You study whatever you have, other subjects, whatever your target is for tomorrow, you'll study that. Evening we will discuss, and night you will again study whatever chapter companies that we are going to discuss tomorrow. Okay, so I'll end the class here. I'll end the class here. I'll end the class here. Yes. Thank you. Enjoy your Sunday with your books. I'll also do a lot of reading. I'll keep posting pictures where I'm reading. So you will also, you know, yeah, tell me. You have doubts, tell me. Yeah, so lots of reading and lots of tea and coffee. छोटे से break के बाद कल. अरे, that someone was saying I have doubts. Where is that person? Oppo A52. Where are you? मोक्ष आपकी रिप्लाई पे पिक्चर अभी बाकी है मेरे दोस्त. हाँ चलो, वो तो ओप्पो वाले तो गए. आई डोंट नो वेयर ही इज. You just message me your doubt. I'll explain it to you. Okay. You cannot send the pictures through pic. You just ask me the doubts. Give me the topic name. You ask me the doubts. I'll tell you. Okay. Chalo. Bye. Have a good Sunday. As I said, with your books.